Hello, everybody.
Hello there. It is 3 o'clock and we have a quorum.
All right. Well, welcome everybody to the April 17th, 2025 MPO meeting. And I'll go ahead and have Jessica go ahead and kick us off with a rundown.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Welcome. I'll do a quick roll call, if that's okay, by last name in alphabetical order. Ashworth.
Present.
Dorsey.
Here.
Hoffer. Absent. Larson.
Here.
Littlejohn.
Here.
Smith.
Here.
And Thomas.
Here.
All right. Thank you. Welcome, everyone.
All right, welcome. All right, I guess I'll start us off with the next item, which is public comment. Do we have anyone there?
There is no public available online or in person.
Okay, all right. I'll move us on to item C, the minutes. I'll give people a chance to go ahead and review them if they haven't had a chance yet. All right, at this time, I entertain any motion to go ahead and approve the minutes.
So moved.
Okay, a second? Oh,
Second.
I guess yeah, okay. Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Larson. I have a first and a second. And I guess, Jessica, if you could give us the roll call vote.
Absolutely. Ashworth.
Yes.
Dorsey.
Can I vote since I wasn't here when
You can choose to abstain. That's fine.
I'll abstain?
Okay. Hoffer is not here. Larson.
Yes.
Littlejohn.
Yes.
Smith.
Yeah.
And Thomas.
Yes.
Okay. Carries unanimously with one abstention. I guess not
All right.
unanimously, 5 with 1 abstention. Thank you.
All right. Sounds good to me. All right, I'll move us on to the agenda items. And the first item is the 2025-2028 Transportation Improvement Program Amendment. And I'm not sure who's driving.
That'll be me this afternoon.
All right.
The MPO has the responsibility to produce a transportation improvement program for our region to ensure that we can maintain federal funding for regionally significant projects. This is the first scheduled amendment to our 2025-2028 Transportation Improvement Program. This TIP implements the Long Range Transportation Plan, Transportation 2050. This amendment is associated with revisions and additions of costs and schedules for roadway projects, bicycle and pedestrian projects, and transit operations. We put this document out for public comment for 15 days from March 6th to March 21st, and 1 public comment was received and is attached to the published agenda. There are 10 projects being amended in today's proposed TIP and 6 new projects. Of those new projects, 2 of them are transit programming funds that were in the previous TIP, but that had been removed incorrectly because they still have some remaining fund that required programming. The addition of a KDOT TA funded project in Baldwin City for a 10-foot wide second phase of the Maple Leaf Trail. 2 Lawrence Safe Routes to School and TA projects, or 2 Safe Routes to School projects. 1 for Lawrence for some completion of sidewalk along safe routes, and 1 for Eudora safe routes. And then a new KDOT proposed project for a traffic signal upgrade near TP Junction in Douglas County. The additional amended projects have changes to project timing or funding that was included. The public comment we received was in relationship to project TIP number 250 that was moving local funding for the Bob Billings expansion from 25 to 26, and that comment was attached to the agenda. Additional information regarding these projects can be found in the TIP amendment summary. If you scroll down to that page, you can see all of the changes being made in the description. The MPO Technical Advisory Committee that serves as the advisory committee to the MPO Policy Board recommended approval of this TIP with a few edits based on fixing a grand total on one project and to fix a spelling error at their April 1st meeting. And today staff is requesting approval of this amendment to process this TIP and submit it to KDOT for inclusion in the statewide transportation program amendment on May 8th. I'd be happy to entertain any questions or comments you may have about this TIP amendment before you today.
Okay. Thank you, Jessica. Any questions? All right, I'm not hearing any, and I assume, Jessica, you're not seeing any there?
Correct. No one has indicated by raising their hand online, and there's no one in person that indicates they would like to provide comment.
Okay, and I assume we don't have any public comment on this?
Correct.
All right, I'll bring it back to us. Any further discussion? Not looking like it. Entertain a motion.
This is Allison Smith at KDOT. I would move to approve this TIP amendment as presented.
Second.
All right, I have a first and a second. And Jessica, if you could give us the roll call vote.
Ashworth,
Yes.
Dorsey,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Littlejohn,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
All right, thanks, everyone. Item 2, the election of the MPO Policy Board 2025 Chair and Vice Chair.
All right. We have this role to help support staff in the facilitation of meetings during our live broadcasts. And for last year, Bart Littlejohn served as our chair, and our vice chair was the Eudora representative, Tim Reason, who's no longer in a voting membership role. So we're looking for, we do annual appointments of this, and since April is the first time we've met with this policy board, we're looking to appoint a chair and a vice chair. The responsibilities are pretty reasonable. In absence of a chair, the vice chair runs the meeting, and that can defer to staff to help facilitate items on the agenda. We'd be happy to entertain any questions about the role, but we're looking for your conversation about chair and vice chair for this year.
I thought, Bart, you did a great job. I would re-nominate you for that position.
All right, thank you. I appreciate it. It doesn't seem to be a heavy lift, so I can go ahead and take it up. So, any other nominations for chair? All right, I'm not hearing any. I'll go ahead and close nominations. But I guess we can go ahead and vote on it. And Jessica, I guess roll call.
Okay. Ashworth,
Yes.
or do you need a motion and a second first? Point of information.
Oh, for the nominations?
Yes.
I'll
Yeah, we
second
probably
it.
do. We probably should.
Okay. Thank you.
A motion to go ahead and close
Okay.
nominations?
So moved.
Second.
All right,
Thank you.
all right.
Now roll call. Ashworth,
All right.
Yes.
Dorsey,
Yes.
okay, Larson,
Yes.
Littlejohn,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries unanimously. Welcome back to another year of chairing this meeting.
All right, now I need some company. All right. Who's gonna step up? Let's open up nominations for vice chair.
Can Allison be vice chair? Because I always appreciate your comments that you make. And I know that you have looked at what's going on in a lot of depth and detail, and I've appreciated it. So I would nominate
Thank
you.
you. Thank you. I'm happy to help out if needed. And Commissioner Littlejohn will always be on the meetings. Yes, I'm happy to help if needed.
Well, I try. Yes, I'll try. Any other nominations for vice chair out there?
I'll second the nomination.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, a first and a second. I think we can close it then.
right.
Go ahead.
Ashworth,
Yes.
Dorsey,
Yes.
Larson,
Yes.
Littlejohn,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Thomas.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries unanimously. We go back to the agenda and share the slides.
All right. Well, thank you, Allison. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'll go ahead and move us. What's that? I'm sorry.
Sorry, we're coordinating in the room, sorry.
Okay.
No, on the agenda, item 3.
All right. Well,
Okay.
Jessica's a little bit ahead of us, so let's go to item 3.
Just-
I'll let you go and let you guys in the room go ahead and drive on this one.
Get that, please open that. Okay. All right. And put it to everywhere I can see. Okay, I'm gonna go through this quickly. This is our annual legal training provided by legal in review what was previously Kansas open meetings and open records. This year they've given us Kansas open meetings and conflict of interest. So we're gonna go through these slides quickly to talk about our responsibilities under Kansas Open Meetings Act as part of a committee that is governed by this. It's enacted by the state legislature and requires our commitment to be the cornerstone to ensure public access to local and state government. KOMA applies when a body is involved in the entity, and the MPO Policy Board is covered under that, and these meetings exist as part of Kansas Open Meetings Act. So this body, it's extended to this body, it's covered by public funds in whole or in part. And a meeting occurs when we're having this type of event where we're in person or online with a majority of membership and for the purpose of discussing the business affairs of the body. And so we want to ensure that any communication we're doing that's interactive and iterative communication is open to the public. And so that includes these types of opportunities, whether they be in person or online, and applies to all of you as members to not engage in conversations that affect the body outside of open meetings that the public has access to. That means for a 7-member body as yourself, that means 4 or more members would be meeting that threshold for majority membership. And so that applies if you're having a social event and you're talking about the weather, great, we don't care. If you're having a conversation about any of the work that comes in front of you for a vote, those are things that we would want to apply to ensure that we haven't violated the intention of Kansas open meetings as part of our responsibilities in this decision-making in this body. That also applies to electronic communications. So you'll notice if we ever email you, we do that in a way where we blind carbon copy, so you cannot reply all. We want to prevent reply all where there's any communication that would not be available to the public about work of the body. And they're given an example of that. Facebook posts also apply in that sense. So we try not to have our communications about work we're doing here on Facebook. So even as technology changes, we still have the appropriateness and the responsibility to ensure that we're keeping our business transparent and open to the public in the communications that we're doing. That can also, here we go, we talked about emails, that applies to emails. And so we want to avoid reply all. You're, of course, always welcome to email us. And if it's information we need to distribute to the group, we can do that. In a way that respects the public information when we post stuff on the agenda. We also don't want to have serial meetings, which is where one member of this body would go and meet, maybe with every other member individually, and again, talk about business of the body, because we would want that if we have participation and we don't want members to be making decisions behind closed doors that the public is not privy to as part of our responsibility. Okay, so KOMA applies to us. Please be thoughtful about your communication. Don't discuss the business of the body in quorum with members of the body. Thank you. Okay. We have other KOMA requirements about public notice for meetings, and so we publish, have meetings in public spaces. Our new public space is the Lawrence Public Library with recent changes in building availability at the city. And we always conduct those where the public may observe or listen, whether that's in person or online. And that's to ensure KOMA access. Can you please admit, Melinda? We do post an agenda also, for the time and date of any of those. We don't typically have special meetings, but if we did, we would also publish notice of those in a public fashion to ensure the public had access. While KOMA does not require agendas to be published, we do create one to be clear about what things we expect to discuss so the public can know, and we will continue to amend those and post those and make those available online. Okay. This is us working in good space. There are possible ramifications for KOMA. If you have additional questions of those, we can speak to our legal staff or reach out to the Attorney General's office or the district attorney, which investigates possible KOMA violations. We hope to not be in this space, so we stay in good intention around our open access. They do work through consent orders to decide if they do have a violation and what training may be required. We've seen in Douglas County, bodies be responsible to the Attorney General's office around KOMA, and so we don't want to be in that position. Okay. We also have local conflict of interest laws that apply to our work, and while the likelihood of any of us being in a space with MPO Policy Board work, seeing as this body doesn't approve contracts or funding, because since the city of Lawrence is our fiscal agent, we just need to share this. The law attempts to ensure that there's fair balance, that public office is not being used for private gain. If you have if you're making a decision and you have a statement of substantial interest, you need to declare that, and there's a process to do that. And we can help get you advice and whatever resources you may need if we come upon this. I'm not aware of any opportunities within our role of MPO where this is going to really be an issue, but we wanted to make you aware that either you or a spouse you may have, if you have interest exceeding certain value amounts established by state law, that we would need to ensure we disclose those. It continues to define those. Okay. And so here's our process for how we file those and do those statements of substantial interest. Likewise, if you need to abstain on certain contracts, if you have employment or substantial interest in that, you may do so. And it's not always required in these situations. Okay. Yep. There is again penalties for not declaring that. We can clarify with legal staff if we come across these situations, or if you have any questions, reach out to us and we'll make sure we get an opinion, whether that's from our legal staff or other advisory opinions from the Government Ethics Committee. And that's their contact if we need to reach out to them. This is just your annual reminder about these laws that apply to us. For conflict of interest and open meetings. So I'd be happy to entertain any questions, although if it's too technical, we will have to get back to you and refer it to legal staff, seeing as this is a presentation they provide to us to provide to you.
Any questions? Not seeing or hearing any. I think we're good to go. Thank you for the presentation, Jessica.
Go back and keep your share book of the agenda.
All right, moving us on to item E, quick updates. Any updates?
Yes, I have 4 updates for you that are on the agenda. The first is just notification to you that our annual listing of obligated projects was posted. It's also included as part of our TIP amendment, but there's a provision to notify you, and we wanted to call that to your attention. That's just all of the projects that have been federally obligated within the last calendar federal fiscal year, and that's been posted and provided. We wanted to let you know that you established a bike plan steering committee last year, and we are underway with our bike plan update. And the link to that opportunities, we have a current public engagement opportunity out with a survey, and we're doing tabling, and we had an open house. And that's available if you want more information about those items. We wanted to let you know that we have had a logo redesign and an office relocation. You can click on that link to share that. Pay with like. So you can see our new logo. We are also now located at the water treatment plant, which is not a public building for public access. So if you need to contact us, we can have meetings in other public available spaces, and we will do that. And while we have an office location that's not open to the public before the new MSO campus is constructed, and that's where we'll be relocating once that's completed. And number 4, we wanted to let you know that we have a transportation emissions reduction program, a TERP or carbon reduction program. You can open that also. Call for projects out right now where we are working in partnership with the Kansas Department of Transportation to put out a call for projects for project sponsors in our region to allocate federal fiscal year 2026 and possibly 27 funding that's available under federal programs. And so that call for projects is out right now. We hosted a webinar, and that's the resources for the application for cities and local governments or other project sponsors to apply for that funding is online. So at a future meeting, you will see consideration of what projects we received applications for and the scoring and recommendations from the technical advisory committee about project selection. So those are the updates I have for you. I'd be happy to entertain any questions you may have about any of the ongoing work that we have or items.
All right, go ahead.
How is the bus overall picture looking on ridership?
The quick answer, which I don't have exact numbers in front of me, but we'd be happy to get those for you, is I believe they're building back some of their ridership post-COVID. And a lot of that is probably attributable to the fare-free situation. There is also some nuance to that, though, based on the amount of service level that the coordinated system is providing. So KU has not had the same consistent level of hours of operation of service over that time. So when we look at transit and operations numbers, we're often looking at the whole system from our perspective. And so in some of those cases, that has impacted the rate of which some of that ridership is growing back. And some of that has been impacted by route redesign, just based on stuff we've seen. And so I would have to follow up in more detail with numbers, but those are different things that we track and are watching with transit.
And wasn't it about a year ago the Sunday program was put in? Or how is that going?
You know, I am not unable to speak about that.
Okay.
We would have to get a specific update about that in ridership. I know the demand for Sunday service has always been there at the trade-off of frequency of service during peak times. And I think they continue to evaluate those trade-offs as they look at how they provide services.
Okay. I just thought that was such a good program.
Yeah.
Sorry, if you happen to at some time.
Okay.
By our next meeting, maybe.
Okay. I will see what publicly available data, if they've published anything, and if so, see what we can send along.
Okay. That's
Okay.
great.
I think Sharon has her hand up.
Yes, I was just curious about the attendance at the first public engagement meeting for the bike plan that was at the library the other night.
Great. We have part of that question. We have over 400 survey responses for our public survey in that process. So we feel like that's been very successful so far. Do 20
20 to 30.
20 to 30 maybe attendance
Okay.
at the meeting. I don't have an exact count. We have, of course, asked people to sign in, but not everyone does. So that would be my estimate from attendance at that meeting.
Great. And are you going to publish the results of that survey on a public, so the
Yes.
public can access it? Okay.
Absolutely. The MPO for all of the survey work we do always publishes the result. Of those surveys, we produce summary documentation that organizes kind of by topic to help our steering committee review that work. And we will post that share that online on their agenda, and on the link that we've included in this agenda right now is the Bike Plan Update web project website for our community engagement kind of platform. And we will post it there also. Of course, for those of you that may or may not know, every plan that the MPO adopts, we have an appendices that includes all of the transcript of public engagement that we have received on that planning process. So you can see right now we have the different opportunities we have. We have the boards posted if you want to go see what was presented at the open house. You can click on our steering committee meeting and go see their agenda and the materials we presented. We try to create transparency in our public process that helps us build trust as we embark on these public processes.
Thank you.
Any additional questions for Jessica on this? All right, I'm not seeing or hearing any. All right, thank you guys for those updates. Appreciate it. Moving us on to item F, other business. Anybody have any other business?
I just want to say that I'll be cycling off the Planning Commission. So May will be my last meeting. I got a lot of invitations and for the MPO meetings, so I've declined those after May.
Okay, thank you. We'll follow up with planning staff.
Well, we'll miss you, Sharon. So we enjoyed your presence on here. So
I think I've been to 3 of these, so
well, you made an impression. So all right. All right. Any other business?
We have none.
All right. And our next meeting is May 15th, 2025. And if not, I think we're good.
Okay, thank you all.
See you, everybody.
Good night.